Imagine for a second that it's 2026. You reach into your pocket, you pull out your phone, and you check a notification or maybe scroll through a feed.
Right.
To you, looking at that screen, it feels pretty much the same as it did 5 years ago. The signal bars are there, the apps are there. But if you were to peel back that glass screen, look past the hardware, and see the company actually sending that signal to your device, you would see an industry in the middle of a massive identity crisis.
It really is an existential moment. The company you pay that monthly bill to, whether it's a Verizon, a Vodafone, or a Telefonica, is currently trying to figure out if they are still a phone company or if they have become something else entirely.
That is the tension we're exploring today.
Right.
We're looking at a report from Avius AI titled Telecom Industry 2026 and Beyond. And the core thesis here, the big idea, is a shift they've termed from telco to techco. Now, usually when I see a rhyming marketing phrase like that, my alarm bells go off. It sounds like a rebrand. Just slap a new logo on the truck and call it a day. But reading through this, it seems like a lot more than just a paint job.
Oh, it is definitely not just a rebrand. It is a survival strategy. The Techco concept, it really encapsulates the pressure these legacy operators are feeling. They're being squeezed.
How so?
On one side, you have the sheer cost of building and maintaining physical networks. On the other, you have the hyperscalers, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, who are eating the value chain.
Okay, so the mission for this deep dive is to unpack that transition. We need to figure out what a techco actually is structurally, how AI is rewiring these networks, and whether these old-school companies can actually pull this off without being swallowed whole by big tech.
That is the risk.
Because from what I'm reading, if they don't make this jump, they might just disappear into the background.
That's it. The stakes are basically, do they become the digital nervous system of the global economy, or do they just become the dumb pipe, the invisible utility that carries the data while someone else makes all the money?
Let's start with definitions then, because techco sounds vague. When I think of a telco, I think of vertical integration. They own the towers, they own the cables, they own the switches. It's all heavy, expensive hardware.
Right. And the traditional telco model was incredibly rigid. If you wanted to upgrade the network, say, to handle a new type of video standard, you literally had to send a technician in a truck to swap out a physical metal box at a substation.
So it's all hardware.
It was proprietary hardware running proprietary software. You couldn't just download a network upgrade like you update an app on your phone.
And a techco just flips this on its head.
Completely. A techco tries to operate like a software company. The goal is to decouple the software from the hardware. You move away from those specialized appliances and run network functions as code on standard off-the-shelf servers.
This is where the report talks about cloud-native principles. We hear cloud-native used for everything from photo storage to accounting apps. But what does that mean in the context of a massive 5G network?
It's all about how the software is built. Instead of one giant monolithic program running the network, you break it down into microservices.
Okay.
Tiny independent pieces of code packaged in containers. And because they're independent, you can update one piece without shutting down the whole system. You can spin up new services in minutes, not months.
So the network becomes programmable.
Yeah.
It's fluid.
Precisely. And this leads to the concept of NAS network as a service. Think about how you buy cloud storage from AWS. You click a button, you have storage.
You don't call a guy to install a hard drive, yeah.
Exactly. NAS allows a business to click a button and provision a slice of the 5G network with specific security protocols or, bandwidth guarantees. It turns the network into an on-demand product.
We're seeing this already, right?
Yeah.
The report mentions Rakuten, Telefonica, Verizon. They're moving in this direction.
Rakuten in Japan was really the pioneer here, building a fully virtualized mobile network from scratch. But now, even the incumbents are virtualizing their core networks. And this is where it gets complicated, because to run all this software, they need massive computing power.
And that brings us to the frenemy dynamic. This is the part of the report that really caught my attention. If a telco needs cloud power, they have to go to the people who own the clouds, AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud.
It's a very dangerous stance. The telcos need the hyperscalers because they cannot build data centers fast enough to keep up with AI demands. But the hyperscalers need the telcos because, well, Amazon doesn't have a fiber optic cable running into your living room.
And they don't own the licensed radio spectrum for 5G.
Exactly. So they strike these deals. The report mentions specific programs like AWS Wavelength and Azure Operator Nexus.
How do those work? Exactly.
Essentially, AWS puts their compute hardware directly inside the telco's data center, right at the edge of the network. It cuts out the lag. But here's the catch, and Avius AI is very pointed about this. If the network functions are running on AWS's infrastructure, and the customer interface is handled by an app on the Google Store.
What is the telco actually adding?
What are they adding?
That's the differentiation problem. If I'm just reselling Amazon's cloud capabilities over my wire, why shouldn't the customer just buy from Amazon directly eventually?
That is a multi-billion-dollar question. If you outsource your brain to a hyperscaler, do you just become a zombie network? And there's a sovereignty angle, too. Regulators in Europe are asking, is it safe for our national critical infrastructure to run on a foreign cloud platform?
It's a tightrope walk between efficiency and losing control.
A very thin one.
It seems like a huge gamble. But let's shift gears slightly. If cloud-native infrastructure is the skeleton of this new Techco, it seems like AI is the brain. The source material from Avius AI calls AI the backbone of modern telecom strategy. Let's get past the buzzwords. How is AI actually changing day-to-day operations?
It's shifting the industry from reactive to predictive. In the old world, the telco world, a component broke, a red light flashed, a customer called to scream, and then a truck was rolled out.
The classic break-fix model. I hate that model.
Everyone hates it. In a Techco, AI ingests telemetry data from millions of sensors across the network in real time. It recognizes patterns that precede a failure. Maybe your router is heating up slightly, or packet loss is ticking up by a fraction of a percent.
So it fixes the problem before it actually breaks.
Exactly. There's a staggering stat in the report from Danica Nikatic at Avius. She notes that carrier networks are now resolving 80% of outages automatically before users even notice.
80%.
Seriously.
80%. That implies the network is effectively self-healing.
To a large degree, yes. The AI can reroute traffic around a failing node or just reboot a specific microservice instantly. This isn't just about reliability, it's about cost. Truck rolls are expensive. Code is cheap.
There's also an interesting note here about energy efficiency. We know that data centers in 5G towers are power hogs.
Huge power hogs. And AI is critical there. It can dynamically put cell towers into a sleep mode during low traffic times, like 3 a.m. in a suburb, and wake them up instantly when a user connects. It's maximizing the bits per watt ratio.
Okay, let's look at the other side of AI, the part the customer actually sees, the CX or customer experience. I feel like AI in customer service usually just means a frustrating chatbot that can't understand what I'm saying.
Right, it keeps asking you to rephrase your question.
Exactly. But Avius AI talks about agentic AI. What does that mean?
Agentic is the key word there. We're moving past rigid decision trees, press one for billing. We're integrating large language models that can actually reason. These agents can understand context, handle interruptions, and actually perform actions.
So instead of just answering questions, they can actually do things.
Right. If you call to say your bill looks wrong, the agentic AI can pull your usage data, analyze the discrepancy, credit your account, and send you a confirmation, all in natural language. Avius AI calls this layer communications intelligence.
I like that phrase. It implies the telco isn't just carrying the voice signal, is understanding the data inside the conversation.
Exactly. For enterprise customers, this is huge. Imagine a small business using their telco's AI to analyze customer sentiment on support calls in real time. It turns the phone line into a data analytics tool. It adds value.
Which connects back to the revenue problem. They need to sell more than just minutes and gigabytes. But I want to pivot for a second. We've been talking about software, clouds, AI. It's all very intangible. But at the end of the day, physics still applies. You still need to move a signal from point A to point B.
Absolutely. You can't code your way out of the laws of physics. The Techco still relies on massive physical infrastructure. And in 2026, the 5G landscape has matured significantly.
It feels like we've been hearing about 5G forever. Remember the initial hype?
Yeah.
Download a movie in 3 seconds.
And the robotic surgery demos, it was everywhere.
Right. But for a long time, it just felt like slightly faster 4G. The report says we've moved from rollout to ROI. They're finally making money on it, but how? I'm certainly not paying extra for 5G on my bill.
You aren't, no. But factories, ports, and defense contractors are. The monetization is happening in the enterprise space through something called network slicing.
Break that down. Is that the VIP lane concept?
That's a great way to put it. Imagine the network is a highway. Historically, everyone, ambulances, sports cars, delivery trucks, was stuck in the same traffic jam. Network slicing lets the operator virtually partition that highway.
So you create different lanes for different uses.
Exactly. A dedicated lane for a self-driving forklift in a factory that requires ultra-low latency, and a separate normal lane for your email, which doesn't.
And companies are paying a premium for that guaranteed lane.
Yes, this is private 5G. If you run a modern automated port, Wi-Fi doesn't cut it. Metal shipping containers block Wi-Fi signals, and the security isn't robust enough. A private 5G network gives you cellular-grade reliability.
It's bespoke connectivity.
Yeah.
I noticed the report also teases 6G. We just got 5G working and they're already moving the goalposts.
Yeah, they always are. The industry operates in 10-year cycles. 6G is expected around 2030. The big shift there, and this ties back to our earlier discussion, is AI native networks.
Meaning what, exactly?
Meaning that 5G had AI sort of bolted onto it as an afterthought. 6G is being designed by groups like the NextG Alliance to be built for AI from day one. The air interface itself, the way the radio waves talk to the phone, will be optimized by AI in real time.
Wild. Now, there's a paradox I want to address. We're talking about wireless everywhere. 5G, 6G, satellites. Does the actual wire, the fiber optic cable, does that still matter?
It matters more than ever. I like to call fiber the quiet giant. You simply cannot have a great wireless network without a dense wired network backing it up.
Because the data from the tower has to go somewhere.
Exactly. It's called backhaul. When your phone hits a 5G tower, that data travels maybe a few hundred feet through the air, and then it jumps into a fiber cable to travel the rest of the way to the internet. If you don't have fiber at the tower, you don't have 5G speeds.
And I see there's significant government money flowing into this. The report mentions BEAD funding in the U.S.
The Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, it's treating broadband like electricity or water. The realization is that if rural areas don't have fiber, they're economically dead. So the government is subsidizing the build-out.
Speaking of rural areas, we have to talk about space. The report calls the satellite broadband market a revolutionary change. And this isn't the old, clunky satellite internet from the early 2000s.
Oh, no, not at all. That was geostationary Earth orbit. Those satellites were 36,000 kilometers away. The speed of light is fast, but that distance created terrible lag.
Right, you couldn't do a Zoom call.
It was physically impossible to have a real-time conversation.
And now we have LEO.
Low Earth orbit, Starlink, OneWeb, Amazon's Project Kuiper. These satellites are orbiting at maybe 500 to 1,000 kilometers. That cuts the latency down to under 40 milliseconds.
So it's comparable to terrestrial internet.
Pretty much. And for the Techco, this is an opportunity for hybrid networks. Imagine your phone connects to a tower in the city, but as you drive into the mountains, it seamlessly hands off the connection to a satellite overhead. No dropped calls.
That sounds incredible for the user. But bringing it back to business, how do these companies actually make money in this new ecosystem? You mentioned consumer plans are a saturated market.
They are. Everyone who wants a phone has one. The growth is gone. The new model is for the Techco to become an orchestrator.
An orchestrator. Unpack that.
It means they stop just selling the connection and start selling the ecosystem. A business doesn't just want internet. They want internet plus cybersecurity, plus cloud connection, plus management for their 5,000 IoT sensors.
So the Techco becomes the IT department that manages all of that complexity.
That's the goal.
That sounds lucrative, but it also sounds difficult. Do these legacy companies actually have the people who know how to do that?
That is the human element, and honestly, the report highlights this as the single biggest barrier. It's the least visible but most formidable hurdle.
Because traditionally, the telco workforce was, well, different.
It was electrical engineers, line workers, field techs, people who knew how to climb poles and splice copper. But to be a Techco, you need cloud architects, AI modelers, Python developers, data scientists.
And those people usually want to work for Google or a hot startup, not a 100-year-old phone company.
Exactly. There's a massive culture clash. The old telco culture was build it perfectly, release it once every 10 years, and never let it break. The software culture is ship code every week, break things, fix them fast.
So how are they solving it? Are they just firing everyone and starting over?
They can't. They're retraining on a massive scale. At AT&T, Deutsche Telekom, they are launching huge internal academies to teach their workforce AI literacy and cloud skills. They're trying to turn network engineers into software engineers.
It's a cultural revolution as much as a technological one.
Yeah.
And frankly, it sounds risky. Opening up the network to the cloud, using open APIs.
Yeah.
Doesn't that create new security holes?
It expands the attack surface drastically. In the old days, to hack the phone network, you needed physical access to the switches. You had to break into a building.
And now?
Now, if the network is software, it can be attacked like software. DDoS attacks, ransomware, API injections.
Which is terrifying when you consider this is critical national infrastructure.
It is. That's why the industry is moving to zero trust architectures. The premise is trust no user, trust no device, verify everything constantly. Security has to be baked into every single microservice.
So we have the technology overhaul, the business model pivot, the cultural revolution, and the security nightmare. It's a lot to manage.
It is the most complex transition in the history of the industry, but there's no going back. The destination is Techco or bust.
Let's summarize the path forward then. Avius AI lays out 3 imperatives for survival.
Right. Number 1, software native transformation. If a function can be virtualized, it must be. Hardware is a liability. Software is an asset.
Number 2,
AI-first operations. You cannot run these complex, sliced, hybrid networks with humans looking at screens. It's simply too fast and too big. AI has to be the autonomic nervous system.
and the third imperative,
Platform partnerships. You can't go it alone. You need to partner with the hyperscalers, the satellite providers, the app developers. The Techco is a platform, not an island.
it really feels like we're watching the construction of a new digital foundation for the world.
We are. Avius AI quotes Ernie Missilkumam, and I think this sums it up perfectly. Telecom isn't about connecting people anymore. It's about connecting everything people do.
That's a profound shift. It's not just the phone call to your mother. It's your car talking to the traffic light, your pacemaker talking to the hospital, your factory talking to the supply chain.
And the company that facilitates that web of connections holds immense power.
So here's the thought I want to leave you with today. We're moving toward a world where communication is no longer a distinct service you buy, but a foundational capability embedded in every object and process. If the 20th century was about building the tools of communication, the wires and the phones, this century is about building the intelligence behind it.
The question is, can your current provider make that jump?
Look at your carrier.
Yeah.
Look at your next bill. Are you paying a Techco that is innovating and orchestrating your digital life? Or are you paying a dumb pipe that is slowly fading into the background while the hyperscalers take all the glory?
It's going to be a fascinating battle to watch over the next few years.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the future of telecom. We'll catch you on the next